Hello and welcome back, and today we're going to be talking about the 2021 Formula 1 season, what we can expect from the teams, from the drivers, and so on and so forth. So let's start at the rear, I think, with Haas. Obviously two new rookies in there, which probably isn't what you want when you've got a absolutely terrible car that was arguably the worst car at the end of last season. What do we expect from them, to be honest? I mean, obviously they've also got a pay driver in there, which no one seems to have any respect for at all. And then the son of arguably the greatest driver of all time in Mick Schumacher, who's, in my opinion, not really performed that great either, to be honest, despite winning the GP2 championship last year. He's not lit everything on fire, despite the fact I do obviously rate him as a pretty decent driver. You have to be to win that series, so I'm not saying he's a terrible driver. I just don't quite rate him as highly as some of the other people that have come through those divisions, basically. So anyway, yeah, I think Haas are going to struggle. I think Williams probably next. I'm not actually going to do this in an order, by the way, but this is how it started. I think Williams obviously going to be next. It's credit to them for actually not being, in my opinion, the last team on the grid. They're gonna. Well, we don't know because they've got the new investment. So we'll have to wait and see with that. They're obviously going to be putting some shit down and hoping to progress, but we don't really know with them. So yeah, I think it's going to be those two, and then the Alfa Romeos probably at the back as well, with Raikkonen and Giovinazzi again. I was surprised they kept Giovinazzi, to be honest. I thought we'd see Schumacher in that Alfa Romeo, but yeah, we haven't seen it, so that is what it is. But yeah, Giovinazzi, the fact he's not beating Raikkonen by now speaks volumes for me, because I would have thought after a few years, to be honest, Raikkonen is obviously an exceptional driver, and I'm one of his biggest fans, but he's not at the top of the pecking order in terms of drivers at the minute, and he shouldn't be because of his age, and pretty much that's it. So yeah, I would have expected Giovinazzi to be doing better, but yeah, I think it's going to be between those three. I think Alfa Romeo will come out on top of that. And then we move into the midfield. Now this is going to be ridiculously interesting. Who do we put where, to be honest? Because you would have thought with this battle you'd have put AlphaTauri last, I would have thought. But they've been showing some pretty good testing, to be honest, and I don't know whether there's anything hugely different. Obviously Honda have brought the new power unit forward, but whether or not that's the reason why, it also looks like an incredibly stable car from what I've seen, which is obviously limited, like everyone has. So yeah, it's a very difficult one. My midfield order, I would say, is going to be Alpine, AlphaTauri, McLaren, and then sorry, not McLaren, Racing Point, and then McLaren. I would say that is going to be my midfield prediction for this, because I'm excited for the McLaren to have the new engine, the new Mercedes engine. I know they've had a Mercedes engine. I did actually make a video of this that is still 82% downloaded or uploaded for some reason. I just can't seem to make that one work, to be honest. Anyway, yeah, so I'm excited to see what the McLaren can do with the Mercedes engine, considering that they finished, I wouldn't say they were the third fastest car last year, but they definitely they definitely extracted results better than any other team across the season. I'm not saying that Ocon obviously didn't get second, and Ricciardo didn't get multiple podiums in the Renault as well, but over the season, McLaren extracted the higher points better, in my opinion, and that's why they got I mean, that's fucking isn't it? That's why they got third. So anyway, the one thing I did forget to say as well, as I can't believe this, is Ferrari. they might be again at the top of the midfield. I can't see them being right at the front, but I still don't know with Ferrari. No one knows with Ferrari. If they've got their power unit sorted, they're probably going to be at the front again. If they haven't, they're going to be in midfield again. So I'm going to kind of almost exclude Ferrari from this because they're just a complete unknown from the last 2 seasons. Who knows? So anyway, Alpine. Firstly, their airbox on their car is insane, isn't it? Really, I mean that is ridiculous. It reminds me of a 70s F1 car, to be honest, with the size of that airbox on there. But anyway, Alonso and Ocon in that car. Alonso looks like he's on it, to be honest. Excuse me, to be honest, doesn't he? He looks like he's fired up and ready to go. And obviously Ocon is not a slouch of a driver. He's not someone I've ever rated highly. If you've ever seen any of my other videos, I think he's obviously a brilliant driver, but I've not rated him among the top of the roster sort of thing. So I predict Alonso is going to get the better of Ocon again, and he's going to have a little bit of a schooling in 2 years from 2 different superior drivers in obviously Ricciardo and Alonso. So we'll have to wait and see that. And then Aston Martin, yeah, Vettel and Stroll, they look like they're going to be pretty terrible. I don't know why I put those at the back. Didn't put those in the back 4 as it would be, to be honest, because they look like they're really struggling in testing, and that's something we never see from the old sort of Racing Point Force India team. They're always solid everywhere, including testing. So it's very strange to see them at the back of the grid. But we'll have to wait and see whether they can pull something out of the bag, because they might be like the Mercedes that we were about to talk about, where they've just had some setup problems and some niggling issues and everything like that. So they might just pull it together, and they might just be exactly kind of where they were leaving off from last season, which wasn't in a bad place at all. So excuse me again. Anyway, that brings us on to the front of the grid. Now this is going to be very interesting as well, because Ferrari could be in there. I'm just speaking about Ferrari. I don't want to speak too much about Ferrari because I don't have a clue where they're going to be. But let's talk about the front of the grid in terms of Red Bull and Mercedes. Now, obviously Mercedes have had their worst testing of the hybrid era, and Red Bull have had their best testing of the hybrid era. And what we've also famously seen is that Red Bull start on the back foot, and then towards the season end, or as the season goes on, they progress and build a car that is arguably at the end of the season a better car than the Mercedes, and then they start all over again, and Mercedes pull it out of the bag to start with. So we'll have to wait. The drivers as well. I mean, Hamilton is as hungry as ever, I think, because of Verstappen. I think if it wasn't for Verstappen, Hamilton would not be as hungry as he is at the minute. But because he's got someone, and I genuinely think Lewis relishes a fight, even if it's not with his team. I think he knows not to have a fight with his teammate, but he wants a genuine fight. So I don't blame him for that in the slightest. I kind of do, but I sort of don't at the same time in terms of business point of view. Not knowing much about that. Anyway, so yeah, I think Verstappen and Hamilton are going to have a cracker this season, but I've got a feeling that the Red Bull is going to be out of the box, the superior car, and if that is the case, we could see Verstappen winning the title. What would be hilarious is if, not hilarious actually, what would be incredible is if we saw Perez win a world title this year, because it's him versus Verstappen. Maybe Verstappen, I don't think he's going to beat Verstappen on pace, but maybe Verstappen has a few reliability issues, doesn't qualify so well a couple of weeks. Perez has a fairly flawless season, with the Red Bull being the superior car, and we could have Sergio Perez as the world title, the world champion. So that would be an incredible prospect, and that is not too far away from actually happening, based on what we've seen in testing. Although Mercedes always sandbag, but they always do millions of laps. So anyway, this has been an absolute ramble at the minute. I'm going to go Ferrari. I'm going to go Ferrari either world champions or 7th. That's my final prediction with Ferrari. Anyway, thanks ever so much for watching. Catch you in the next one.